Hello everybody, this is Amir Alwani. This is Amir Alwani from PotentNews.com. Let me talk to you about astrology, about the Mercury conjunct Chiron of March 26th. But hold on a second. That music here, I want you guys to hear some of this music because it really, to me, it defines what Aquarius energy is all about. At least when it's like chaotic and revolutionary, or when you get in a certain innovative zone where you think things are moving really fast. See, that's the kind of vibes here in this music. Right here. Let me ruin it for you here by talking. That's what the DJs do. I swear to God, they're like, they talk over their shit when they're doing a mix. They're putting it out on SoundCloud. Every time I feel like saying, "Shut the fuck up! Just like let us hear the fucking thing. I don't care what it's called. I don't care." But actually, with all my studying of gematria, I do care about words. Because you know what? Here, let me turn it down here. Oh, but it's such a good part of the mix. Right here. Aquarius vibes, right here. Everything's machine-like. Everything's getting upgraded. People getting addicted to apps. Pluto obsession with Aquarius, which is the science and the apps and the networking and the fake shit, the technology. But on the positive side, it could be healing and long-term karmic healing that is either using technology for good. Fucking hell. I don't even know if you guys heard that. Okay. Yeah, so all right, let me just smoke some weed here a little bit more just to get grounded. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right, 1,000 apologies. Now listen, I was saying earlier, like I was making a joke about if I don't care what the song's called, Mr. DJ Man, just fucking, just play it and let me enjoy it and hear it. And then I said, well, actually, I do care about words. I do care about names because you can find a lot with a word. And here we're talking about this Chiron, this conjunct with Mercury on March 26th. Well, the word Chiron has the same numerical value as the word hanged man. And what is the hanged man? That's the 12th tarot card. That's the one that is a man hanging by 1 foot, and Pisces is a 12th sign. Pisces rules the feet and the lymphatic system. So Chiron is about your wounds, and we just finished up with Pisces season, and we had a lot of planets in Pisces. Now we got a lot in Aries, and so we went through a time when we were more prone to being spreading ourselves too thin and stuff like that, and being kind of a victim complex situation. A key word for Chiron is victimhood. Other key words for Chiron is maverick. Before I get into even more keywords, I point out this word maverick because for me, it's also tied to asserting independence, which you could say is a key word for Lilith. And there's other things that Lilith might share with Chiron in astrology. So Lilith is, I'm not going to spread myself too thin and describe what Lilith is at this time. But a key word for it is denial, and people tie Lilith to Pluto and Scorpio energies a lot. And if you look at the gematria, the numerical value of the word Lilith, you find it is the same as the word purging. So in full reduction is 30, Lilith is 34 in full reduction, and purging is 34 in reverse full reduction. So it's interesting. This is 34. 3 plus 4 is 7, and there's already so much to do with the number 7 and this whole year, because 2023 is a number 7 year with the numerology. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 is 7. And this seems to resonate with also Saturn moving into a new sign, which it does every 3 years. Well, it did that on March 7th. And also, if you look at hold on, bear with me. All right. If you look at, if we look at that, okay, I'll shift it into this for this kind of explanation instead. The number 7 is connected to Neptune and Mercury energy. So if you look at all the conjunctions, because a conjunction is the strongest blend of two planets or a planet and whatever, and so you can look at all the conjunctions that Neptune in particular has with planets this year in 2023, and there's only 3 of them, and the last one was one with Mercury. So that kind of underscores what's going on here. But then also, because of that, it kind of confirms that astronumerology, right? But then that date of March 16th, which is when this Neptune conjuncted this Mercury, and Mercury is your thoughts and communication, Neptune is your dissolving boundaries and the dream world and intuition and taking a more big picture view. So this happened March 16th. So 1 plus 6 is 7. Now, if you think about the 16th degree on the chart, any 16th degree, people call it a Cancer degree, because the 12th degree will be like the 12th sign, so the 13th degree will be like the first sign again. And so then when you get to 16, that's the Cancer sign. And so Cancer is ruled by the moon. So what you could do is then look at where was, like we already said that it's okay, I'll put it this way. When Saturn shifted on March 7th, the moon itself was in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, which is connected to the number 7. And Saturn, that day, when it shifted there, it was less than an hour before or after the full moon, which is, I think it was an hour after or so, or like 55 minutes or some shit. And Saturn had moved into Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, which is connected to the number 7. You also have this day was a Tuesday on March 7th. You also have, so Tuesday is connected to Mars, which rules Aries, and Aries energy is going to be, you're going to need to be having a good handle on it the second half of 2023 when the North Node shifts into Aries. But anyway, here, when March 7th happened, when all this shit's happening here, it happened when the sun was in the 16th degree, so that Cancer degree. But it's that 16 again, so 1 plus 6 is 7. And so then you might ask yourself, okay, this is what's happening with when Saturn enters a new sign that it does every 3 years. Isn't it interesting that it happens during Pisces season, no less? So that connects it again to that Neptune, which is in that 7. It's happening when actually Mercury is also in Pisces. It was at the 8th degree at that time. It's happening when Neptune was also in Pisces, the 24th degree, which would have been a Pisces degree. So isn't that interesting that all that's happening? And then you look at, let's say you were to ask yourself, well, let's take a look at the conjunctions with Saturn. What conjunctions are happening with Saturn in 2023? Right? And then you'd find that there's only 3 of them. Yeah, the last one's with Mercury. And maybe you could say Mercury's kind of a slut. It moves really fast, so it's like, so someone could almost say like, no wonder it's like the last one so often. I don't know. I don't know if that's what ends up happening, but definitely it when you look at the ephemeris charts, the circular ephemeris charts, you can see kind of Mercury slither around a lot. So, but let's say here you're looking at Saturn, and you say to yourself, what's the last conjunction Saturn had with the Sun? Because the Sun brings motivation to things, it shines light on things. Saturn's a depressing planet. It's all about discipline and hard work, and the Sun is less depressing. People literally get depressed when there's not that much sun around. So isn't it interesting that February 16th is when Saturn conjuncted the Sun, is when our order and structure was having shared energy with the planet that is about bringing light to things and your consciousness and being revitalized, and the actions you do to get a leadership and to get respect from males and authority figures and that kind of thing. Isn't it interesting that this happens on the 16th day? Okay? But not just that. Let me see if I go into that chart, right? Then what do you find? You're going to find something that blows your mind here. You're going to find the moon is in the 7th degree. So that's another 7 right there. Being connected to this, but the 7th degree in Capricorn. So that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So that's even more confirmation of this heavy 7 energy here. Right? So how would I interpret this so far? It's almost like, already Saturn and Pluto were, well, first of all, the other thing is like, the 7th sign is Libra, which is the opposite of Aries, which I just told you the second half of 2023 is going to be heavily dependent on that polarity. And so you're going to have to, a lot of people are going to be falling back on codependency and stuff like that, and having to work at being constructively assertive and stuff like that. This recent conjunction with Jupiter and Chiron helped us sort of get some hope about being able to examine our wounds, or to put them in the proper perspective, or to move forward with those wounds in mind, or something like that, to be wise about it. But I mean, that's not how it played out for everyone, obviously, but so how do I interpret all these 7s? A number of things, right? Like, first of all, we mentioned earlier that on March 7th, when Saturn shifted signs, the moon was in Virgo. That's a grounding influence. And that's also, we said, that's ruled by Mercury, which is connected to 7. But that Virgo is helping us ground at a time when was needed, because we had like a couple weeks from that March 7th to today to do that, I'm not saying it's impossible to do that after today, but right, like the next 3 months are going to be more of this AI shit, more of the mad scientist stuff, more of the networking and Aquarius stuff, which is about air. Air is a fast moving energy. So if you're not grounded when there's all these ideas floating around and you're in a number 7 year and you have technology boosting the reach and the voice of the fake gurus out there, then that's not the best mix. It's like, you want to be discerning at this time. Saturn entering, the Saturn, the planet of reality checks, entering the planet that's about the hippie stuff and the interconnectedness. That means ground your spirituality. We had a good opportunity the last 2 weeks to do that. And the moon was helping us start that off. And even though it was after a full moon, so we were kind of like calming down after that whole point. It might have made this shift extra depressing feeling or something like that. But anyway, so there's that. There's that component to this with the moon. And then there is, you think about the other part of the moon. Well, this just came to my mind now, or not now, but this was not what I was going to say, but there's something to do with that 22nd degree. So a 22nd degree is a Capricorn degree. And when you look at, actually this ties what I wanted to say, because what I wanted to say was Saturn and Pluto were both at boiling point together for weeks. Okay? Saturn calmed down with that on the 7th, Pluto calmed down with that today on the 23rd. So, but also there's other things like they were, like Pluto was in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn also. So there's that. So they were kind of linked. That means our methods of order and structure and trying to be disciplined and responsible and dealing with blockages, Saturn's malefic, is more annoying than not annoying in general. Our efforts to do that had been dealing with the same kind of energies as our efforts at dealing with what we're obsessed about. Like I said, we were obsessed with responsibility, because Pluto's obsession, Capricorn's responsibility. We were obsessed with maintaining what was relevant about the status quo, because Capricorn's about the status quo. What have we built up? But it's like Pluto is not as malefic as Saturn, but Pluto can be destructive and it can be obsessive, and it's got the psychological issues. So it's almost like if you didn't get your order and structure done the right way before March 7th, then some of that bullshit emotional slush or energy or karma might have went over to Pluto, which is also about karma. Meaning that any kind of obsessive energies you got now, you'd be then more prone now to misusing that and to do what a lot of people are going to do, which is being obsessed with technology and using technology as escapism. Now, so when I said that 22nd degree, it's like, okay, that means you look at where hold on a second, let me get the proper window. When you look at Pluto entering Aquarius, you find that, remember I said there's all this heavy emphasis on the moon, and already people link the moon to Saturn. I mean, the word Saturn has the same gematria I've found as the word birth and childbirth. Other people have found that it is linked to the word lunar. And I think even the word moon links up with the number 9. I found that recently. So the word moon links up. The word moon in full reduction gematria is 21, and if you reverse the alphabet, the word 9 equals 21. So the moon impacts the menstrual cycle and all that, and it's all tied to the feminine. And so the 21st tarot card, which people tie to Saturn, is like this gematria finding of the moon equals 21, and the moon equals the same as the or the word lunar rather equals the same as the word Saturn, and Saturn being linked to the 21st tarot card. And then you find even the word Saturn itself has a value of 21. I believe that was the same cipher. I can't remember. But anyway, so just in the interest of keeping things flowing here, if you look at the moon, then you find there's something about the moon called Lilith, and that's the point of the moon's orbit that's furthest away from the Earth. So you could say that's like ungrounded feminine energy. So then you look at where was this Lilith when Pluto entered Aquarius today. And keep in mind, I said Pluto and Scorpio energies, because Pluto rules Scorpio. Pluto and Scorpio energies are very similar to Lilith anyway. They both involve a lot of purging. And the word desire and unconscious desire can link them. So then you look at where was Lilith when this happened, and keep in mind Lilith moves fast. Well, the true Lilith, which moves fast, was at the 22nd degree of Leo at this time, when Pluto entered Aquarius today. And that means that, so that's the Capricorn degree. So that's even more underlining of this thing. And it's like, okay, Pluto's entering Aquarius. Aquarius is the group. The opposite of Aquarius is Leo. So you got that polarity there. And so what's Lilith? Often it's about going to extremes. It's about your primal urges, your unconscious desires. It's about oh man, that was a weird burp. Hold on, I need some fucking caffeine. Hold on. A fucking notification fucked me up. All right, hold on. How long has it been here? 20 minutes? All right, I'm thinking even, okay, I wasn't sure if I wanted to combine the looking at Chiron, the Chiron conjunct. Hold on a second, I got all these windows, okay. The Mercury conjunct Chiron of March 26th. That's what this recording was originally set out to be, I think. Okay, let me just check with my pendulum here. Like, according to my higher self. Oh yeah, okay. Before I even check that, let me just wrap up the keywords I wanted to tell you about. Actually, no, yeah, because this is good. Because okay, so Chiron, right? So we started off talking about Chiron. So just, and I told you that there's a lot of similarities with Chiron and Lilith, and I'm trying to like differentiate them as much as possible, because Lilith and Chiron are the only thing that I have in my 10th house, which is career and public reputation and stuff like that. So for me, since both of these are in Gemini, it makes me go to extremes in those areas. Denial is a key word for Lilith and for Chiron too. Chiron is like more the denial of your higher self. And maybe you could say like the denial of Lilith is more about like denying how much you have an urge for something, that those primal urges, because that's why they go through the binging and purging. They're like, okay, I went to an extreme, but I did it wrong, so now I'm not going to do nothing at all. And then I'm going to be like, okay, now fuck doing nothing at all. I'm going to go to an extreme again, because I'm going to be like, succumbing to the sacral chakra. Because that's what I think it is. I think Lilith impacts the sacral chakra and the third eye. I thought I had the third eye here connected in my brain database to this, but I'll fix that later. When you look at, by the way, Lilith is another keyword is passion, and so that would also link this up with what. Let me get that proper window up again. I got 1,000 windows here. Hold on. What? Oh man. Okay. All right, so where was I here? What did I want to explain? God damn, there's so many windows. All right, bear with me, bear with me. I'll get back on track here. I'll get back on track. Yeah, so I was talking about the word passion being linked to Lilith. And so it's like, maybe look at where Lilith was here. And we said, okay, it's a Capricorn degree. It's in Leo. Leo is also passionate also, you know, so, and then here this will be in the third decan of Leo, which would be equivalent to, or it would be talking about Mars energies, right? So third decan, the last 10 degrees of Leo, in other words, involves Mars energies. And so you look at Mars here, it's in the 29th degree. So isn't that interesting? Because that's like, well, and we're talking about, at this point, we're talking about 8:14 a.m. on March 23rd. So it's probably not the chart that I got up there. Although maybe I will do that. I don't know how lazy I'll be with that. Because I wanted to just put the Chiron Mercury chart. But anyway, point is, if you look at the chart for Pluto entering Aquarius, you find Mars is in the 29th degree, the last degree of Gemini. So that's boiling point. So the word anaretic degree, which is what that 29th degree is known as, talks that word has the same numerical value as the word boiling point, and interestingly, this is what links them here. This is the 70. So anaretic degree equals 70 in full reduction, and boiling point equals 70 in full reduction. So, and what's interesting is if you were to actually write out SEVENTY and get the numerical of that in full reduction in the thing that just gave you the 70, you'd get 29. And you would get that 29 also for the word 70 from the Chaldean numerology cipher. Also, that cipher shows the S is 3, the A is 1, and the T is 4. That's 314. That's the first three numbers of pi. And that's relevant because, and I know I'm bouncing around all over the place here, but it all connects. You know what? I'm not even going to go down. Okay, I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not going to go down that one. I don't know how good my technology is here and how long it'll take me to convert this to the video thing I wanted to do. So fuck it. I'm going to keep it short. Keep it short. Keep it short. The point is, the pi numbers are encoded into the word Saturn. Pi is an infinite number. Saturn's about the finite in astrology. And if you look at how far Saturn traveled in the ephemeris chart, that means how far it traveled on the zodiac wheel throughout the month that preceded this Saturn entering a new sign. You find it traveled 3 degrees and 14 minutes. So there's that 314. That's the first three numbers of pi again. So then you might look at that and be like, wow, like, that's kind of weird. Then you look at the previous month. You say, okay, how far did Saturn travel there? Well, it's 3 degrees 18 minutes for January. I don't want to give you faulty numbers, so let me just fucking double check this right now on my thing. So, so 3 degrees 18 minutes for March, for how far Saturn moved in March. No, not March. Sorry, these things, this album that I got here is like, it makes it reverse. So, okay. So when you go to the next one, it goes to the one before it. But anyway, to summarize, January. If you look at Saturn entering a new sign, and you remember that the word that Saturn is basically has the pi numbers encoded into it, and you remember also that the numerology of the astronumerology in general connects Saturn to the number 8, and so even the 8th tarot card has got that lion on there, that Leo. Leo rules the heart. Heart is the same letters as Earth. So you look at the number 8, it literally looks like a infinity symbol. So there is, again, that link to pi right there. But if that's not enough, you look at how far, like I said, how far Saturn traveled in the month that preceded this Saturn shifting into a new sign, which it does every 3 years. But if you, for shits and giggles, if you were to look at the month that preceded that March 7th shift, it would have been February. And that February, Saturn traveled 3 degrees 14 minutes, which is the pi number basically. And then if you look at January, you would find that it traveled 3 degrees and 18 minutes. And why is that relevant? Because that number also is basically a pi number. It is, that number is what you'd get when you do 7 divided by 22. Because you see, 22 divided by 7 is how we approximate pi, this infinite number that people make movies and holidays about. That'll give you the 314, 22 divided by 7. And if you just play around with it and do 7 divided by 22 instead, you'll get 0.318. There's other ways that this has links with like Jupiter and Saturn and whatever, based on the astronomy of it and whatever. But if you look at that 0.318 that you get from the 7 divided by 22, and you find that this 318 is also in how far Saturn traveled in January, it's almost like it makes you want to look at how often does that shit happen. It's like, well, it's kind of a coincidence, you could say, or quote unquote. So it's kind of like underlining what I'm trying to say of the need to take advantage of this opportunity to ground your spirituality so that this fast-moving air energy, this revolutionary, innovative energy doesn't take you by storm. There's already people, like I said, even before Saturn entered Pisces, people are falling for artificial intelligence art that is making them think that their president or former president got arrested, that Trump got arrested already. So, going back to the 7 energy, it's mysticism. Life Path 7 people are interested in mysticism. They're interested in all the little components that go into how the building blocks of the universe and how things function. It's just that sometimes those people could be a little delusional. Sometimes everything you're saying goes right over their head. And the way you avoid that is you do the Virgo shit, the opposite of Pisces, before you get to the Pisces stage of your development kind of thing. So that means you take care of your income, you take care of your nutrition, you upgrade your nutrition and your health, and you be logical about things, and you keep emotions out of it. Like the sign before Virgo is Leo. They're like the party animal. They like to be the life of the party. Well, after the party, there's a mess. And Virgo like to be helpful, so they clean the mess. But if you do it too much, then you become like this hermit kind of person that's closed off to the world. You become too mechanical. But, like I said, regardless, it's good that the moon was in Virgo when Saturn entered Pisces. And that helped us ground our shit. And so yeah, there's all this stuff about the 7. And when you look at the tone of the whole year, the 7, like I said, it's the studying part is the Mercury component. Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. So people are curious, and the big picture intuition component is the Neptune. But this number 7 energy is hard on families, it's hard on relationships, and it makes people too withdrawn, and it can make them too cynical. And so if you think about the word withdrawn, and you combine that with being ungrounded and having all this stuff boost technology over the next 3 months, I mean, you're going to have Pluto, the planet of obsession, get back into Capricorn and give us another chance to look at this shit. About what we're obsessed about how we want to be responsible and stuff. But before that, if you got all this weird stuff about Mars energy, like on the way to that, like with Mars being in a sign that it falls in, like in Cancer, Mars is about conflict and war and passion, and it's rules Aries, which is heavily influencing the second half of the year. But right now we're in Aries season. Right now there's a lot of Aries energy, and so it's kind of like if you think about Aries as fire, and we just got the obsessive planet move into an air sign, that obsessive energy, people are going to be obsessed with technology, obsessed with more like TikTok kind of stuff, obsessed with the changes that are happening. They'll be taken by storm. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom about it. The positive end is you use this tenacity that the Pluto Scorpio energies are known for, and you use that to bring healing and to get your penetrating insight into whether or not there are actual imbalances among the group, whether or not there are humanitarian needs that need to be addressed and stuff like that. You know, when we're starting that off here, if there's this dicey energy with that, when we're starting off this Pluto Aquarius thing, there's a dicey energy between, and I know I'm all over the place here. I don't care. Let me just get that chart up again with that Pluto entering Aquarius. Yeah, I told you it was a Capricorn degree for the Lilith there. So going to extremes to get attention, which is Leo, Lilith and Leo. And that being in a Mars decan, which makes us kind of think about where Mars is at, and it's in Gemini. So Mars is the shoot first, ask questions later. It's in Gemini. It's in the 29th degree. That means leading up to this point, there was not a lot of good energy there from Mars interplaying with Pluto. There was a quincunx. Right? If it wasn't already bad enough that the sign that Pluto rules is what the South Node is at. So the South Node is stuff we mastered in a previous life. So that means that means right now the stuff we're falling back on, like the second half of 2023, we'll be falling back on the Libra shit and the superficial codependent shit, and then but now before that we're falling back on the Scorpio shit. But even when we do that, about falling back on keeping our cards close to our chest, or relying on being in the zone emotionally and stuff like that, that's squaring that Pluto also. So if that's not bad enough, you know, and if it's not bad enough that the moon at that time also was in the 26 degrees squaring that Pluto, so making a T squared there. By default, also the North Node being square in that. So us trying to get ourselves outside our comfort zone and feed off some of the good harmony, balance, good luck kind of blessing stuff that the Venus conjunct North Node did recently, that is also, while it did bring some good stuff, that also is in Taurus, which is stubborn, just like the planet, or just like the sign that Pluto entered today. That means a lot of pressure on Pluto. Pluto is that quincunx, means it shares nothing at all with the Mars and Gemini, meaning now our current efforts to there's like a dissonance thing because it's going from one sign to the next. So this that might clear up in after Mars enters Cancer. I don't know about clear up, but the point is, when you got a planet that's the opposite from another, or if you got a planet in a sign that's the opposite of where another planet is at in another sign, that's like, at least they're both like the same polarity and they speak the same language that way. That means like one of them's that means if one of those signs is introverted, the other one's going to be also introverted in yin energy also, and feminine energy. And if one of them is masculine and extroverted, then the other sign is also going to be that. So the masculine is the fire, water. No, the masculine is the fire and air. The masculine is the fire and air, and the feminine is the earth and the water. So, but now that's not happening with Mars being in Gemini, which is air, and Pluto having just entered Aquarius, which is air. So they're both. Or hold on a second. What I'm trying to say is, well, okay, so they're both air, but they're both about to. The other one's about to switch too. Like Mars is about to switch to the water one, so that means, like for a bit now, between now and when Mars enters. Hold on. Let me take a sip of caffeine here. Okay, so Mars will enter Cancer on March 25th at 7:46 a.m. Ottawa time, Eastern Daylight Time. And so between now and that point, what's going to happen is, oh, for fuck's sake, why do I have so many windows? Like, I need 2 monitors. It's like if I used to have 3 monitors in total. Like, I need to matrix this shit up. Like, fucking hell, man. I cannot bounce back and forth. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. And why do I feel this way? Because Pluto just entered Aquarius, and Aquarius is entitled. And my life path is 22. That's tied to Uranus, Aquarius energy. And my natal Jupiter is in Aquarius. So I don't feel hope if things are not completely 100% convenient. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the challenge, the problem with Pluto in Aquarius. And you're going to have a lot of time with this societal shift to grapple with that same problem that I'm trying to grapple with right now here. I mean, don't get ungrounded. Don't be too ADD. Yeah, Mars is in a Gemini, which is ADD. And let me get that chart back up. So let me pin that one here. Okay. So so Pluto entering Aquarius was a time when Mars was in a boiling point anaretic degree, you know, and there you got that causing so you got what we want to fight about, which is Gemini. Hold on, let me go back to saying what I was saying before first. Let me just define a quincunx for you. Okay, so a quincunx, like we said, if you got an opposition, that's not a quincunx. That means they're 180 degrees away. That means outside circumstances are going to make these things like have a tug of war kind of thing. And you got to do some compromise or integration. But if you got the energy of the slightly next sign instead, which is what happens here with this quincunx, then it's like they share nothing. They don't share the male or female. They don't share the element, and they don't share whether that sign is a starter, like cardinal, that starts things, or whether that sign sticks with the established shit, which is fixed, or whether that sign adapts to other people's ways of doing things and helps wrap onto the new thing, which is mutable. So so Pluto's at the 29th degree, or was at the 29th degree of Capricorn for weeks, at a time when Mars was approaching, well, Mars moves fast. So just the last few days, then you could say it was approaching that 29th degree also, but at a sign that is Gemini. And so you see Capricorn is right after Sagittarius. And so since Gemini is the opposite of Sagittarius, then when you got that degree, those 2 planets at the same degree, but one sign off, then it's like fucked up. That means a lot of pressure, like I said, a lot of pressure on the Pluto. But then that kind of feels like it's easing off a little bit now that Pluto entered an air sign, because air is just like Gemini. Pluto entered Aquarius, which is air, just like Mars in Gemini is air. But then Mars on the 25th is going to shift into the water sign. And so then your fighting style of air shit, which is, by the way, at a boiling point right now, and you might want to double check that shit and pick your battles with that shit. That's about... Fuck, I lost my train of thought. But it's really important people get a handle on this Mars energy, because there's all this concentration of shit squaring that energy also. That means that means Mars is currently in Gemini, which adapts, and it's squaring. It was squaring more Neptune, which is in Pisces, which also adapts. So Mars in Gemini means adapting. Gemini adapts mentally, and Neptune in Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces, by the way, so it's adding to that illusion or delusion energy there. Neptune rules Pisces, which is adapting emotionally. So that means too much of one or the other, or they can't mix them properly or something. Like a square means these two worlds are having friction, and that you need to be creative about integrating them, or accept delayed gratification in those areas in combining them, or something like that. So the Mars is like fighting, and Neptune is illusion or delusion. So a lot of people are coming off now, fading away from this illusion, from this delusional fighting styles bullshit, you could say, or too much shit talking, or too much gossip and shit like that. At the same time, what's fading off is this Mars square the Sun, which is the Sun, meaning the Sun is in Aries, but it's still, although Aries and Gemini are not both adapters, Gemini is the adapter, Aries the starter, is it where that Sun is still at the beginning of Aries, whereas that Mars is just finishing up with that adapter Gemini. So like I said, on the 25th, then you're going to have people trying to start new ways of feeling about things, because that's the feeling is Cancer, or they might want to start things about their home. They might be passionate about making their home nicer, or they might be impulsive about cooking or something like that, because Cancer likes cooking. They might be burning themselves out on anything to do with nurturing and Cancer kind of stuff. And so pressure. So there's pressure on Mars, and that's coming from an area that's got a high concentration of pressure. That's coming from mostly. Hold on, let me change the song here. Hold on a second. God damn. Where is this? Let me get back some of the, let's say, maybe let's go with this one. All right, take some of the pressure off. Okay. So that one will switch up too. We'll get into the drum and bass shit soon here, but let's take some sip of this coffee again here. All right, so a lot of what's happening, like okay, hold on. I think because I don't want to go off on describing just the Pluto entering Aquarius chart. I was, it's. But while we're on this, it's like this, okay? It's like Saturn shifted, right? Saturn is between. Chiron is between Chiron's orbit, and Chiron's the wounded healer, is between Saturn and Uranus. Uranus rules Aquarius, which is what Pluto just entered. So Uranus is about liberation and that innovation, just like Aquarius, because it rules it. And so it's interesting that in the mix of all this stuff that's putting pressure on this Mars, which is that there are aggressive energies that are having friction with this whole shift. I mean, on one level, Pluto exiting that 29th degree is a relief. That like you know, Rabbeinu Rassaban calls the 29th degree the pressure cooker number, and so that feeling of pressure cooker is off for now. So that's a relief, but all this that doesn't stop how annoying the Mars energies are, and how much those Mars energies are causing friction with the energies that are mostly emanating from the Aries area here. Even the Sun was quincunxing the South Node there. So all that stuff I said about the quincunx, basically, the Sun in Aries and are making moves to get ahead and be assertive or aggressive and start new things and value immediate results kind of thing, is at odds with us falling back on the tried, tested, and true right now like I said in previous recordings, like being in the zone. South Node Scorpio is like being in the zone, or it can be shaking things up and being like chaotic and destructive and self-sabotage. Okay? So, and it might not be clear how that self-sabotage might come later, like, because if you burn yourself out on the Aries shit now in Aries season, then you're going to have less energy for the North Node Aries later. And like I said, when Mars enters in a couple days into that Cancer, that's kind of annoying too, even though that will be energy that will be trining the South Node, or at least it appears so from here. So I guess that would be. Sorry, I'm getting distracted now because I gotta take a piss. That's what's happening here. And I'm sick of this I don't know, like this app that I'm using, I don't know if it'll pause everything and ruin everything if I pause it. That's the thing. Let me even check to make sure it's still recording. Yeah, we're 51 minutes still recording. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so let me just see if I can wrap up what I'm saying here, though. Basically, because I started off this whole thing talking about how I'm saying that I value the numerical value of words, right? I didn't even get to say all the keywords I wanted to say about Lilith, but it doesn't really matter. I said some of the standout ones here, and basically I told you how it ties with Chiron, right? And the thing is, the word Chiron, and I told you now, just now, that Chiron is the, it's been reclassified a few times. They used to call it comet, or they might call it a comet now. I think they might call it asteroid at first or some shit. So it takes, like, it's a long-term thing. It takes 50 years to get around to where you were, where it was at when you were born. And it's the wounded healer, and it basically connects the energy of Saturn to the energy of Uranus, which is about revolution and innovation. So Saturn is about the status quo and holding on to what's been established. Chiron is like, it bridges that. And the thing is, I told you it has the same numerical value as the word hanged man. Well, you know, and I told you how much Chiron plays a role in my public life. And so what I find is, not only does the word hanged man has the same numerical value as the word Tamara Lich, right, which was one of the people that is I guess being punished for supposedly leading the Freedom Convoy, even though the commission report for that judge, I read an excerpt thing, he wrote that, like, in his opinion, that there was no actual clear leadership. So I don't know how they could blame a person but anyway, point is, the word Tamara Lich in the Chaldean numerology cipher matches not just my name and the word Bill Gates, but it matches. Um, well, the thing is, it matches it from the number 25. So Tamara Lish equals 25, Bill Gates equals 25, Amir Alwani equals 25 in Chaldean. So that's that 7 energy that we're talking about, this very pervasive this whole year. And that might have even been, well, okay, I touched upon that in earlier tweets or whatever. I'll just say this. I'll say this number 7 energy, like I said, 2 plus 5 is 7. Right? Tamara Lich equals 25. And we already said that 7 energy is connected to Neptune, which rules Pisces, and Pisces is the 12th sign, just like the Hanged Man is the 12th card. Well, I told you also this Hanged Man connects to Chiron, and basically I told you also that a key word for Chiron is the word maverick. Well, guess what? There's something called the Maverick Party, and that's what Tamara Lish was part of. So, I don't know too much of the background of all this, but this is the Maverick Party seems to fit into this idea of asserting independence, which is that key word for Lilith, which I told you Lilith has a lot of overlap with Chiron. So that's why I'm telling you that it's interesting that during this Mars square here that's happening when Pluto enters Aquarius, the sign of the humanitarian and the good of the group and fighting for the underdog and all that, isn't it interesting that Chiron was just addressed by Jupiter just shortly before that, giving us some kind of hope for making this square not as frictiony as it could have been for some of us, hopefully. But yeah, regardless though, there is a lot of energy there with the Aries, right? So when Pluto entered Aquarius today, Sun was at the 2nd degree of Aries, Mercury is at the 8th degree of Aries, Chiron's at the 15th degree of Aries, Jupiter's at the 17th degree of Aries, the Moon was at the 26th degree of Aries. So that is squaring that, but if you allow that pressure cooker boiling point, if you allow yourself to not tear your hair out too much, then that puts less pressure on the transformative energies you want to do, and that makes those less problematic because like Pluto entering Aquarius is like a lot of wind, like a breath of fresh air, but then if you got this like small simmering fire and somewhere else, then it's like, okay, if they're quincunxing each other, then it's just a matter of time before there's like some snapback effect. It's like there's no tug of war with that shit with the quincunx. It's just like one wins or the other wins. That's why it's frustrating. But yeah, so if people could pick their battles now, that'd be good. Getting distracted again because I gotta pee again. So I'm gonna, you know what? I think here's what I'm gonna do. Even before looking at this Mercury Chiron conjunction, because I spent most of this looking at the chart for Pluto entering Aquarius, so I might as well put that on there in the video. That some of you might be hearing this just from the podcast, so some of you are not seeing the visual component to this, but since, like I said, that Virgo energy was telling us to be healthy when Saturn shifted, I'm gonna take that advice and I'm gonna not hold my pee in too long, even though I want to, and who knows, it'll make this broadcast more digestible. Let me just double check with my pendulum though before I do that. Okay. So, according to my higher self, should I cut the broadcast short right now and just use the Pluto entering Aquarius chart? Okay. Should I save the discussion of that other thing, the what was it? The Mercury and Chiron. What was it? Hold on. What was it? The Mercury conjunct Chiron. So hopefully, if I have enough energy and order and structure, and things are not too chaotic for me from all this wind that's blowing around from this Pluto entering Aquarius. Hopefully I'll be able to come at you with another recording right now. We shall see, but let me just ask my pendulum, should I save that other thing for later? That's left is yes, right is no. That's a yes. Is my grounding cord currently securely attached to the earth right now? Left is yes, right is no. That's a yes. Is my grounding cord clean at this time? Left is yes, right is no. That's a yes. Okay, let me double check. Is my grounding cord dirty at this time? That's a no. All right, so yeah, this is a sound decision. I'm going to try to cut this off before it reaches the hour mark. So thank you very much for listening to this. If you want to purchase a tarot reading or an astrology reading, that's a tarot reading or astrology reading, $90 an hour Canadian via PayPal or Bitcoin. Hit me up. My website is potentnews.com, POTENT news.com. Thank you for listening.